this morning. So I will be his designee and we'll get started. I want to welcome everybody to our first quarter meeting for this year. Hope everybody's year is going well and that you found everything. We have a couple of new commissioners. So one of the things that we'll start off with is our roll call. Once we do our roll call, then we'll kind of go into introductions. So we can give an overview to our newest commissioners, to know a little bit about each of us.
Okay, I'm going to go alphabetically. If you could just indicate if you're present. Mentioned Director Brennan Kelly is not present. Deputy Director Robin Woolery. Present.
Present.
Dr. Pania Arunkumar.
Present.
Jillian Baker.
Present.
Jeffrey Buford.
Present.
Claire Dragovich.
Present.
John Hanlon.
Present.
Judge Arthur Hill.
Present.
Jody Hoos. Did I say that correct?
You did, present.
Chris Hughes.
Present.
Philip Kinsey.
Here, present.
Jeannie Ryhill.
Present. Yes, you got it.
Karen Tucker.
Present.
And Carrie Ward.
Present.
Okay, those are our commission members, and we have a confirmation of quorum.
Excellent. Okay, and we have a few guests on WebEx. So welcome everyone on WebEx. And we'll start with our introductions. And I also failed to mention that we have our executive director with us for the first time. I'm sure all of you all have gotten a chance to meet Amy, but I'll let her introduce herself and we can welcome her.
Oh, thank you. My name is Amy Woodroba. Thanks for welcoming me to the commission. I know, strangely, most of you from my work as an attorney for the last 20 plus years in the criminal justice system, specifically with forensic evidence. I've also been coming to these commission meetings for quite a while in that former role. So I'm thrilled to be able to join you. I'm here as a resource for you. This is the first time we've had an executive director. So while I have a general idea of what I'll be doing, certainly should be a two-way street. I'm here to serve the commission and to further your projects and goals. So contact me anytime. Suggestions, criticisms, welcome. I am here for you and I look forward to working with all of you.
All right, Connie?
I'm Pania Arunkumar. I'm the medical examiner for Cook County. I have held that position since 2016. I did my fellowship training in 2003, so I've been in the field for 21 years. Well, thank you for getting me on this commission and look forward to working with everyone. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Down the line.
Yes, we will go around.
I'm John Hanlon. I'm an attorney and the retired former director of the Illinois Innocence Project, but still working as a staff attorney for the project.
I'm Jeff Buford, Northern Regional Bureau Chief for the Illinois State Police, where I oversee the operations of the Chicago Forensic Science Center, Chicago Laboratory, and Joliet Laboratory.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Ryhill. I'm the DNA technical leader for the Illinois State Police and oversee all technical operations for the entire state. Except for the page and miracle.
My name is Jill Baker. I'm the drug chemistry supervisor and technical leader for the DuPage County Forensic Science Center. I'm Claire Dragovich. I'm the lab director of the DuPage County Forensic Science Center and was the quality manager.
So Kinsey, director of the Northeastern Illinois Regional Crime Lab.
I'm Jody Goose, Peoria County State's Attorney. I've been in that role for about 5 years now. Prior to that, I was a circuit judge for about 5 years. And then before that, I was an assistant state's attorney for about 15 years. So sort of revolved my entire career around the courtroom and criminal cases for the most part.
I'm Art Hill, retired associate judge, circuit court of Cook County. I served as an associate judge for about 19 years. Before that, Cook County State Attorney's Office, Chief Deputy State Attorney is first assistant. And before that, there's all kinds of other things.
Karen Tucker. I work for the Illinois State Police. I'm the training coordinator in the firearm children's section.
I'm Chris Hughes. I'm a clinical associate professor in ecology and a board certified forensic anthropologist. So I serve the kind of central Illinois forensic anthropology cases.
Hi, everyone. I'm Carrie Ward. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for the Illinois Coalition Against Sexual Assault.
Hello, I'm Robin Woolery. I'm the Deputy Director of Division of Forensic Services for the Illinois State Police. And I am so happy that we have all of you here today. This is the most full that our commission has been since its inception. We only have one outstanding member role to fill, but, you know, and in listening to everybody's pedigree, I'm honored to be here with you guys. It is a great honor to be a part of this commission, even in my role as just a actor for the director. But in his absence, I welcome everybody, all of our newest members, and I'm really happy that we're going to be able to do some wonderful things this year. We have a full agenda, so I will pivot back to our executive director to go over our minutes from the last meeting.
Real quick, I did want to say we do have one guest in the room. I don't know if he'd like to introduce himself.
Timothy Rupel. We're founding the brand new Kane County Forensic Science Laboratory. I've previously been with Michigan State Police with the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation, was a field agent with FBI and DEA also.
Welcome. All right, the next item on our agenda is to review the minutes of the last meeting from December 18th of 2023. I believe everybody should have received them. Does anyone have any amendments or discussion related to the proposed minutes? No, if there are no suggested amendments or discussion, then I would entertain any motions with respect to the minutes.
Carrie Ward, motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Karen Tucker, second.
Okay, by affirmation, everyone in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the minutes pass. Those will be posted on the website. Our first housekeeping item is to review the revised bylaws and discuss and vote on adoption of those. You should also have received those. So one of this topic had come up at previous forensic commission meetings. And so one of the things I was able to do, since I haven't been on board too long, was go through those and make some changes, proposed changes based on previous discussions that you guys had had at your meetings. I'll just point out a few of the minor changes that were made. I updated some language to make it consistent, such as chairperson versus chairman, and some legal citations, including citing for the statute amendment that allowed for Dr. Arun Kumar to join us. I also added a section to address public participation via electronic means, because that was not yet in there. And that way, but I also kept certain sections kind of open at this point because there's some pending bills that might amend the Open Meetings Act to address online access and meetings. So I wanted to make sure that if any of those get adopted, that we would be in compliance. And then obviously, if more restrictive rules are put in place, then we could just revise the bylaws again. So that was kind of what I went for. Does anyone have any comments or suggested amendments on the proposed bylaws? If not, then I will entertain a motion with respect to the bylaws. Okay, do I have a second?
Our bill second.
Great. And then by affirmation, all in favor of accepting the proposed revised bylaws, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes unanimously. Next is a new item on the agenda that I added. And again, going forward, you can let me know if you like this as part of the meeting agenda, and that is an executive director summary, similar to how the subcommittees do summaries. I thought it might be useful for you to hear what I've been working on in between meetings. In this case, I started in January, end of January. Took a little while to get me onboarded, so I've done as much as agenda for today. I've already mentioned communication open door. I'm going to thought maybe we'd give it a try, but about a month prior to each big quarterly meeting, I'll put a call out for agenda items to you. And if you have any items that you'd like added to the agenda, then you can give me a call and we can put those onto the agenda. And then that way I can also assist with anything. If you need anything related to the agenda item or what you want to talk about, to make sure that you have your resources and that we're in compliance with open meetings for those purposes. Maybe we could see how that works. Again, we'll give it a try. I've also been busy working on some different outreach opportunities. The International Association of Homicide Investigators, as some of you do and what we may be doing going forward. So I'm just waiting to hear back. I'm hopeful that they will let me talk for 15 minutes. So I've also gotten clearance and will be submitting a request to join that organization, the National Association of Forensic Science Boards, which Deputy Director Woolery went to their first annual meeting in the fall. Since that time, they have really built out their program. They've now got bylaws, they have a membership structure. The entire goal of this organization is to bring forensic science commissions and boards from different states together to help exchange ideas, best practices, lessons learned, things of that nature. So I'm going to join that organization as the representative of this commission. It is also open to all of you. If you would like to join I think it's a type 2 or type 3 member, you're able to join as well. So otherwise, if you don't want to join, I'll be giving you updates on what's going on there. I really think they're going to be a great resource. It's a lot of different types of commissions. As we know, every state is different. But there's a lot of things I think that, we may be thinking of doing going forward that have probably been tried or done in other states that maybe we can get some guidance from them on. And then I continue to be I've been on these for a while. I'm on 4 of the ASB consensus bodies. I will continue to do that, work with standards to stay kind of up in that. And then recently, I also continue to attend any workshops or national conferences that I can that would be relevant. Some of us attended, I know in this room, a free one that was a few days ago. The National Academy of Sciences had one on law enforcement use of probabilistic genotyping and forensic DNA phenotyping and FIG. It was very interesting. That is recorded and online and available to anyone who'd like to view it. And then one thing I noticed from previous meetings is it was a request that you guys wanted some legal and legislative updates. So you got a lawyer for an executive director. Well, I wasn't able to do anything super comprehensive before this meeting. I was able to at least get a list of bills, whether they're still alive or not, and where they're at in the process. I wasn't able to work too hard on that for this meeting, but I will going forward. I have kind of created just a summary of those so that you have them. Public policy is going to talk about, I think, one of the topics that's addressed in some of those related to cannabis. I will say too that I put just 2 cases in. I'm only going to talk about one. That is the U.S. Supreme Court case that's pending, Smith versus Arizona. For those of you that aren't aware, that is a case involving the confrontation clause and the question of basically who has to be called as a witness by the prosecution in cases when forensic testing is done. We're in Illinois. The last time this was addressed was Williams versus Illinois in 2011, 2012. Williams versus Illinois was a DNA case. This is a drug chemistry case. And the facts are that the analyst who tested I believe it was cannabis and meth, did not testify. I believe she left the lab to go work someplace else. So another analyst from the lab reviewed the data and the notes and the reports and testified to his own opinion. So that is pending. I'm expecting that it probably won't be decided till June because the more difficult topics that the justices tend to disagree on tend to come out in June, and every single other confrontation clause case with experts has come out in June. So, but at the latest, it would come out in June. So I just want that to be on everyone's radar because that is going to definitely merit further discussion and examination by everyone once it comes out, however it turns out. And I think that was it on my. Yes, that is it for the executive summary. So does anyone have any questions? And any from me on any of the topics I brought up?
What was the date of that meeting in Collinsville?
It is June 10th through the 12th, I believe. It is up on the IHIA website now. I don't know if I don't think the agenda is up there yet. They're still building it out. But if you look, they had previous kind of summits. One was in DC and one was in San Diego. Those agendas, I believe, are on the website, and I expect that the agenda should be somewhat similar. But as soon as the agenda comes out, I can let you guys know. I think it'll be largely focused on FIG. It says DNA and genealogy, but if it's anything like the previous ones, I think it'll be largely focused on FIG.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, thanks for listening to me. Then we'll move on to subcommittee reports. Quality Systems Subcommittee.
Claire Dragovich, Chair of the Quality Systems Subcommittee. February 15th, myself, Philip Kinsey, Mark Melford, Jeff Buford, and Joanne Wu met to discuss preparation of our 2023 significant non-conformity report. We now have those in from the 3 different laboratories named, required to provide reports. I'll be collating them and I'll be working with Amy to get them distributed prior to our next meeting, where we can address any questions. We also discussed pros and cons, implementation, and management of random analysis and blind quality control, which was a very interesting conversation that allowed us to share their experiences and what was required.
Great, thank you, Claire. Our next, does anyone have any questions?
Real quick, Claire, we'll have the report at the next meeting. Will we be getting them before the next meeting? So we'll be voting on them at the next meeting, or we'll just be reviewing them at the next meeting?
Ideally, we can get them out before the next meeting, and then if everyone has a moment to review them, you can send questions before, we can handle questions at the next in-person, and then we should be able to vote.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so any questions would have to be discussed at the meeting.
Okay.
So that everyone is able to engage, but you could certainly send questions to me individually, and then I could distribute those, or I think in some way get them to you before the meeting then, but then there could be no discussion until the meeting, if that makes sense.
But we can't vote at the next meeting.
Yes, as long as, yes, so if we know that we wanted, you can discuss and vote at the same meeting, we'll just have to indicate on the agenda that we'll be doing a vote.
Okay, great.
Thank you. So the next subcommittee is the Training and Career Development Subcommittee.
Okay, during 2023, we worked on setting up presentations. We presented to the judges at 26 in California. We did a survey as to what they would like to hear about. We presented on firearms and DNA. We're looking to do some further presentations, hoping to work with the executive director and the new commission members to get presentations to the defense community or to the prosecuting attorneys in different areas. So we're looking to work further on that 2024. We also work on recommendations or consistent training throughout the state laboratories. So we came up with a document on training forensic scientists in criminal law, civil law, and testimony. We did a document on training forensic scientists in ethics and training forensic scientists in general knowledge and forensic science. Those have been previously provided to the commission, and I met with Executive Director Wetruba prior to this meeting and provided those documents to her also to review. During that meeting, we discussed forensics and the law certificate. So Director Wetruba will be reading that up during discussion. And the committee is also looking for different ideas that we want to see us work on in 2024. Some things that we've discussed is creating training videos, talking about getting approval through the commission on what kind of training you'd like to see us do. Some ideas that we had was the first was an introduction to the Forensic Science Commission, so a video on us as a board. Then maybe going into general overview of laboratories and services that we perform. And then the third level would be a deeper dive into different sections. So those are some of the ideas that we have come up with, but we want to get commission input and executive director input as to what you guys would like going forward.
the videos that you mentioned, would those be for the general public or would those, I mean, who would they be geared toward?
Well, that's kind of what we were discussing as a committee that we wanted to kind of bring to the commission. So we talked about having, some of the laboratories talked about having general forensic videos like through YouTube that anyone could access, and then we could try to maybe have some that are more restricted.
Okay.
But that's the discussions that we want to have and what we'd like to see, what the commission wants to see from this committee and what kind of videos we want to put out there.
If I may, so I did, meet with Ms. Tucker. They did and reviewed everything that this committee has done. They've done a lot of very robust work, prior to me joining. So, I kindly asked if, with respect to the internal, or excuse me, when I say internal, I mean training for forensic scientists, the 3 documents that you've put together, those are, I think, pretty ready. And I know you guys had seen them, but I had asked if she could maybe hold off on those to give us one subcommittee meeting so that then I could join in on the conversation, and decide what to do with those. As far as the external training, which I'll define as non-forensic scientists, we also discussed that. We did talk about specifically lawyers and judges. So I've started doing a little bit of outreach, and I've also spoken with Judge Hill a little bit on how to reach defense attorneys, prosecutors, and judges. In a perfect world, and perhaps when we talk about that possible certification program, we find a way to get everybody together in one room. And I think that is a good in my opinion, a good long-term goal. In the short term, if you guys are in agreement, I would like to start to try to push out to these communities in ways that, I guess, within mechanisms that already exist, which is largely bar associations. This is good. I see value in this for 2 reasons. One, if we can get time with bar associations, so at trainings that they're already scheduled to have, they take care of doing the MCLE stuff, which is huge. I did a deep dive into it. I had no idea what was involved. So if at some point we want to give independent trainings and for lawyers and they're going to want CLE credits, I'm guessing the lawyers in the room would agree with me on that. We would probably have to become a provider, either the commission or through the state police. If we provide trainings within a bar association scheduled training, then they are the provider.
Okay.
So that would help not only with the paperwork, but also there's a cost to being a provider too. Yes. And so since we do not yet have certain budget things figured out, I thought that gathering information on possible bar association groups that we could present to would be a good way to go. I've reached out to the Prosecutors Bar Association and gotten their 3 training dates. Their soonest one, I believe, is at the end of May. Their agenda is already pretty full, though they did indicate that they would be, and they are going to have a presenter, Kara Stephenson from Cook County State's Attorney's Office, talking about DNA. They discussed whether we could possibly provide a presentation after her to talk about perhaps legal issues related to DNA. I would be willing to do that if you're open to that. Obviously, it would be all presentations, I'm going to say neutral. There's no, this would not be a, here's ideas for motions, or this is very much just kind of like a legal summary I present to you guys. Here are considerations when you're admitting DNA. Here's what you have to do. Here's case law, things like that. So that's a possibility. And then for their fall training, and then they do a downstate training as well. Perhaps I could talk to them about getting more of the technical stuff out, similar to what you did for the judges, or just see what they're thinking. I don't know if perhaps our new state's attorney representative or any other lawyers in the room know of other groups that do. I know ILSAP does some trainings. The defense bar, I'm not super aware of how they do their trainings. I know they push a lot out through like the different county bar associations. I don't know, John, if you could speak to that.
I'll check on that, but I would say not a whole lot going on right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you guys are in agreement with me trying to gather information on any possible place where we could reach out to lawyers, even law enforcement too. I know that there's obviously, and there's different levels. Yes.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'll check on my area too, because I'm not sure what the defense does. I will say, I think the bar associations is a great idea and that's a good start, but it's rare that prosecutors contracts or wills and trusts and estates and things like that, that a prosecutor or a public defender or a really, primarily criminal defense attorney would never go to.
Mhm.
So I think, it depends on who our goal is. Is our goal general public? Is our goal those that really use this? Judges, prosecutors, public defenders? Or is our goal just for attorneys in general? I just think we need to be aware of that, though. But I think our state solution is an excellent starting point. But to jump off from there to really grab the prosecutors and the public defenders, we get.
Yes, my experience has been the same. So I will say, I don't know, and I can look into different counties. The DuPage County Bar Association does do trainings in-house at the DuPage County Courthouse that are open to, and that have out to. I don't know if other large counties like Lake, if they do anything like that. I don't think Cook does. I know the Cook County State's Attorney's Office does theirs in-house. And then you you met with the judges. Yes, Judge.
I mean, I know that the Chicago Bar Association has a criminal law.
Okay,
And I know they've actually had meetings at 26 in California from time to time. So that might be a place that might be fruitful. My impression is that it's primarily occupied by criminal defense attorneys. So.
but that's a great,
Right.
that's the group that I think thus far we've had the hardest time
Right.
getting to.
Right. Right.
Assuming that they're interested. But thank you, that's great. I can reach out to them and, or through you. Yes, yeah.
We're going to have, ISP, DFS, my division, we're putting together a symposium, forensic science symposium for the fall, where we're going to target all law enforcement senior officers, so like chiefs and sheriffs, but also state's attorneys, judges, and open it up. It'll be free to the community. It will be in Springfield, just a one-day symposium on forensics. So I'm hoping to get somebody from the commission to speak at the meeting, like you said, maybe just a quick 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes to address the community, to kind of put our name out there. But the training will be general forensic information for the higher levels. So that might be an avenue also for us to give a little training if we can get some of the judges to attend and the lawyers and law enforcement officers.
That's a great idea. I'm hopeful that now, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think the message to the target is make sure that we say that it's not just a prosecution.
Right.
Only training,
Yes.
because I think when DNA, you see a conference here on DNA or something, people just generally assume, it's for prosecutors to lay foundation
Mhm.
to get in the evidence, but if we just market it to make sure that it's, for everybody, I think that would maybe capture the defense part a little more than.
And I might tap a few people here to find out how to reach those audiences, because we've been sending out information through our laboratory management system for our law enforcement, but it's hard sometimes to figure out how to reach the judges, the defense attorneys, the prosecutors, the other people. So I will be reaching out to try to find out, is there somebody we should contact, somebody we should target? Because we have everybody here.
And
That should make my job easier.
that's part of what I'm gonna be doing too, is kind of hitting the pavement, so to speak, as the weather gets nicer, and reaching out to different agencies that I've worked with in the past, just to start gathering information on who the right person is to talk to, where, and what opportunities there might be out there that we're not aware of. Yes.
Well, I have a couple of things. One question, it seems, because we've had these conversations a lot in our subcommittee for training and education. We're trying to determine who the groups are that we're trying to reach, and there's lots of different groups and they're all throughout the state. Is it possible, instead of trying to attend in person, can we start scheduling maybe online trainings? Anybody can attend, and then it's not so much of a lift for the technical forensic scientists to, still have day-to-day work to do. That's one thought. And then, another thought would be if, the commission were to, in expanding the website, as you alluded to in the agenda, like if we put out a newsletter about trainings that are coming out, or have a sign up for the newsletter, and we can reach out to police chiefs, state attorney's offices, public defender offices, and they can register to a communication that gets pushed out to them. Just some thoughts.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. So, yes.
I had a quick question. What is the training, like, what are the main topics for the training?
Subcommittee?
Yeah.
Well, so last year that our main topics were just kind of saying recommendations of what we want consistent trainings throughout the laboratory system. So that's when we did the ethics, the courtroom, and the general forensics. Through that, we also started working with Judge Hill on doing some trainings, and that kind of now has grown into what kind of trainings do we want to be doing. So we started with the judges, we tried to do the prosecutor's office, and now it's just kind of growing in a lot of directions, and we're trying to focus on where we want to be doing these trainings.
Jill, when you talk about the online, or are you speaking for attorneys, scientists, both general public?
Well, we're talking about external training and trying to reach all the different groups. I think finding one venue, as you mentioned, DuPage County Bar Association, yes, a lot of people come in, but how can we expand that one talk to everybody in the state who might be interested, from defense attorneys, public defenders, state attorneys' offices, judges, and so forth. So, on those kind of platforms, you hit a very large audience. And if you offered a few throughout, the year, people can attend a certain date, and maybe they can have another. If we're really looking to try to educate them on something in particular, whether it be GNA or just the Forensic Science Commission itself, and so forth.
I think that's great. I think that this, my CLE concern wouldn't be huge there if we kept it probably, if I don't know, if we targeted kind of more like the 101 level. So like Forensic Science Commission 101, like if it's just short and it's out for the public, then I think that, I don't know if the other lawyers would agree, like, I'm sure there's plenty of people that would watch it if they wanted the knowledge, even if they're not going to get an hour of CLE for it. Obviously the deeper dives, the bigger programs, lawyers are going to want CLE.
Well, I feel that what I'm observing is that we're having a hard time getting into these agendas and programs. So maybe if we put ourselves out there and we receive education online, then they may be more inclined to say, hey, we really want you to expand on this topic. Can you come to?
That's a great idea.
Right.
So it's marketing too.
Right, marketing,
essentially.
right. And then for the symposium, what we're planning on doing is being in person and having a online, people can watch by Zoom, but we didn't want to do it completely online because we know that you missed something. It's not as well accepted if it's only online because you miss that interaction. But we'll have it for people who, can't attend in person.
Sure.
But then have the in-person portion also, or, representation.
Great ideas. I've got them all down and I will go forth and move on them. Anything else on the training?
That's it.
No? Thank you so much, Karen. All right, technology subcommittee.
Sure. Jeff Buford, I'm the chair of the Technology Subcommittee. Since we last met as a commission, we had a meeting as a subcommittee on January 17th, in which we are, I'll give you a little background here. We're in phase two of the subcommittee's agendas to review emerging technologies in all the major disciplines in forensic science. Our last meeting was held January 17th, in which our trace discipline gave a presentation to provide information regarding emerging technologies in that particular subdivision, in particular for GSR, gunshot residue analysis. As we continue in phase two, our next discipline that we'll be presenting is actually later this month, our forensic biology DNA. Subject matter experts will be giving a presentation on the 27th of March. That'll be our next meeting. Once forensic biology DNA completes this presentation, that will close out our presentations for phase two. Following these presentations will be a summary report that we'll be providing, hopefully for our next commission meeting. That will actually basically be a summary of all the disciplines of the presentations that they gave, a synopsis of the emerging technologies that are not in place right now in those different disciplines, and any recommendations those subject matter experts are bringing forth for further review for fitness of use in that discipline. And that's what we have coming up for the technology subcommittee. Yes, Rob.
Can we put those summaries either online or in the SharePoint? I mean, I don't know
Yes.
if we want to put them online, I mean, that's up to the right of the commission if we want to have them posted, but if not online, at least in the SharePoint.
Absolutely. All of our presentations and any other documentations are already housed there.
Okay.
So the summary report will be housed in that particular SharePoint location. That's what I have for now.
Thank you.
Oh, sure.
Anyone have any other questions for technology? Well, thank you to all the good work that everyone's been doing on the subcommittees for our new members. Those are our 4 current subcommittees. If you're interested in joining any of them, let me know, and then I will update you and give you all those dates and materials. Public policy. Oh my gosh, sorry. I don't have my cheaters and look out. I apologize. So I only did 3, public policy.
Thank you. So Public Policy Subcommittee has met several times recently regarding one issue in particular, 3 issues total over time, but one issue that is kind of right now pertaining to the DUI THC statute. First of all, just to say, I really appreciate Claire kind of stepped in. I was out for a while, and Claire stepped in and provided great leadership to the subcommittee and as well as substance to the subcommittee. And I'm buttering you up because I asked you to take this over. So, but the issue, it pertains to the other bodily fluids portion of the law, the DUI THC law. And we've heard excellent presentations from Larry Shelton of ISP, and then from Lindsay Simpson, is that right? Lindsay Simpson of NERCL, who gave us, like I said, excellent presentations on that. And from those presentations, I think the subcommittee is on the same page in wanting to bring to the full commission the question of whether or not we want to support, we don't have language, but just in general, the concept of supporting Senator Simpson, is that right? Senator Morrison, thank you. Senator Morrison, her pending bill regarding altering the statute. And this is Laura Claire, passing the ball to you.
So I'm going to give you all a brief summary of what we would be discussing for many meetings, like John said. So we were looking, we had a vote, and we all agreed, and what we would like to ask of the commission is their support in issuing a letter to support a language change for clarification to the current statute. And this is related to toxicological testing of body fluids for DUI with THC. So currently, the law describes D9-THC specifically as being the analyte with per se thresholds for a DUI charge.
And it is, D9-THC is active component of cannabis, or is an active component of cannabis, and is attached to it. And for example, delta-9-THC glucuronide is one of those inactive metabolites that you can find in it. Is that when THC and gold, we need free THC. We don't need any active metabolites that are not related to the herbs. And so, as long as it into the concept that language change should be, or point out, we see this, that the language to clarify it. So that is, every understanding is testing, there has to be an PhD to be in the without that testing and test and how like your friend is not in any way related to impairment, which is the
So when will the are you guys working on that letter? Or commission? We didn't have any. And just putting out there, no high necessarily of name building out, but this is a right, this is a friend issue. Everybody is for science, with, and it's just that they're, application language, would be something we recommend as a whole, any legislative topic.
Yes.
Do we have a science to be able to differentiate between the active and the inactive? Number one, number two, does the trooper or the police officer on the street have the tools necessary to make that differentiation?
So the answer to your question is yes, scientifically we can differentiate between delta-9-THC and metabolites of THC. In answer to your second question, no, there is no, other than doing the DRE test or impairment when you pull someone over, there's no way for a trooper to know or police officer to know what a person is intoxicated with. So they would either ask the person for blood and urine, get a search warrant for blood and urine, and then have to send that to a crime lab for testing to see what the person actually had in their system. All of you usually drop blood. No, they have to take care of the hospital, not downstate. I just usually in the ladies and police officers trained into belonging, but out in the northern area, that doesn't seem to be a thing.
Did you say there's a bill pending currently that changes this, or?
Senator Morrison has a bill, yes, is that in the?
There's actually two that I'm aware of, yes. One that was introduced by Senator Morrison, I believe is a Senate bill, and you should have it in your
Right.
packet there. And then I believe the second is a House bill by Representative Vela. So both addressing the same statutes, different proposed language change. Again, I don't know the status of the two. And this is, I guess, where I want to come to you guys. And ask you more of a general question. So in my job description, it says that, that I should be the spokesperson for the commission on, issues, if there's, testimony to be heard before the legislature, things like that, that would fall onto me. So, this is kind of the first legislative or policy, issue before you with me on the commission. So I thought I'd share, maybe my thoughts on that, but in addition to any type of letter that would be drafted, similar to what was done for the victim's DNA databasing issue. If you guys are in agreement that, you know, that I'm kind of empowered to go forth and do, like, if you take a position, let's say you take the position generally that you support amending the DUI statutes to clarify the issue of testing for active Delta-9 THC in other bodily substances versus inactive metabolites, correct me if I say anything wrong there, then I know what your intent is, and I could go forth then and to act consistent with that intent. So for example, if there are phone calls to be made, I'll have to figure out how to jump in with the, you know, Office of Governmental Affairs, and if there are things to be done, then I could go forth and do them without every 3 months having to come back and say, are you okay with this word change? Because as we all know, legislation happens sometimes very fast, sometimes very slow, sometimes last minute. That seems consistent with, I think, what my job description is, and I think with what this commission would like to do as far as impacting legislation. What do you think?
Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Yes, Jeff.
I guess I have a bit of a concern. First off, it makes total sense to go after impairment only and not just for the casual user who 25 days ago might have smoked and it's still in there, but it's not making an impairment on the ability to drive. I guess my concern is we don't have the tools for the police officer on the street to make that differentiation. And somebody going to the hospital to get their blood drawn is rare in a traffic situation. So I guess I wonder if, I don't know if the bill addresses this problem where the trooper doesn't have the tools on the street to make that differentiation. And I guess I wonder, do we wade into that problem? Do we wade into that challenge? I should say.
So here, maybe I can clarify a little bit as far as how the DUI statute is broken down. So obviously, there's different ways to prosecute DUI, and or you can hop in on here too. And one way is, you know, impairment. And the other is this A7, which is a per se amount similar to like a 0.08 for blood alcohol. And the per se amount is 5 nanograms per milliliter for blood, or 10 nanograms per milliliter for other bodily substance or fluid. I forget how it's phrased. And so those charges wouldn't be brought until after the labs came back. So there would be the initial, presumably other charges brought related to the traffic stop, either under the A3, A4, any other things. And then when the labs came back, if there's that per se amount, then those A7s are added. The issue really only applies to the definition with respect to that A7. You can, that's where the confusion seems to exist since the legalization of cannabis. You know, it used to be if you were driving around with any amount of cannabis in your system, just like cocaine or whatever, it was controlled, it was against the law. It's now legal.
Right.
So I think that's where, you know, now that's where the ambiguity might be coming with the science and the wording. Jody?
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, and I totally understand the judge's concerns. This isn't a section that the officer would be able to use on the scene.
No
matter what.
It doesn't fall under that scenario. But the reason I asked whether there was a current bill pending is because time is of the essence then, obviously. I mean, they're in session now.
Right.
And obviously, I'm new here, so I'm trying to take all this in as much as I can. But if this commission wants to go in the direction you were talking about, like, you know, have a say in policy and things like that, I think your suggestion is a good one because, you know, like currently the state's attorney's office has an association and we will submit a slip either in favor of a bill or against a bill, but you have to have a person who's sort of in charge of it. So like currently the president of the State's Attorneys Association is the person who's able to log on and submit a slip either for this particular bill or against this bill or neutral in a lot of situations. So I just mentioned that because people maybe that aren't familiar with the legislative process.
Right.
We think that's already done.
And that's how
I'm
ISP,
telling you something you're not.
and that's what our office, and I don't know, Claire and Phil, if you guys have Office of Legislative Affairs in your labs. But ISP has a unit that does just that. And you're right, if we're going to submit something, we need to do it quickly because we've already submitted all of our pro, cons, I mean,
Right.
for, against, neutral, all of our takes on the current legislation proposals that are out there. We've done that, so I don't know exactly where the legislative process is right now. I know they're in session, but I don't know, is it too late to get anything in? I mean, we can certainly talk with John. I think for the commission, for us, if we wanted to submit something, we could utilize ISP or, at some point, maybe we need to figure out how we do that separate of ISP. I don't know. I know that we have a mechanism right now we can utilize through state police, but if we want to do something independent of ISP, then we have to figure out what that mechanism is gonna be.
Could we do it through ISP, but identify it as being the commission? Because I know right now the statute or the commission is set up in such a way that ISP provides the kind of administrative support. So maybe that's what I can look into to see if I could use ISP as a mechanism to get our position in front, the slip in, but make it clear that it's the commission. And if it's not, then, I don't know, maybe I'll reach out to you or I can figure it out and I could move as quickly as, I could start on this tomorrow. And make that the top priority to try to get it in, should you vote to take that position with respect to clarifying the statute.
Is that civil enough to do independently as a commission? Or is that a big lift?
What do you mean?
Just
Can we submit it independently without doing ISP?
independent of ISP even.
I don't know.
Do it as a commission.
I can,
Usually any whatever agenda item, you can put in a witness slip. Anyone can.
Okay.
It is easy to do, what I know.
And if you do it for an organization, you just have to be clearly authorized by that organization to submit on behalf. So we can do that. So I can, on behalf of the Illinois Coalition Against Sexual Assault, submit a position. You could submit a position as an individual, but if you're so authorized by the organization, you can do that. And so if the commission agreed that, you were so authorized on behalf of the commission to, sign on in support of or in opposition to a bill, you could do that. I think from the Public Policy Committee, though, part of the discussion was recognizing that this was a particular piece of it, wasn't support or opposition specifically of Senator Morrison's bill, but it was language, it was in support of language that would address this particular issue. But I think the timing is right in that session goes fast. We're already past the point where new bills can be submitted. And so really now it's adjustments and committee hearings and all those things that are happening that speed by. So I think any intent that we have for authorization for the director, we should do today. And I think it should be clear to the language around public policy and not specific necessarily to Senator Morrison's bill. Although her bill and Rep. Bella's bill do seem to be the only ones that are kind of addressing this kind of.
that I'm aware
right
of,
now.
yes.
Do they include oral fluids?
One of them, I think, made a change to, I think it said, it clarified like except urine. So it didn't change the other bodily substances. It added in like it excluded urine. And then one, I think, just added in free or parent Delta-9 THC as opposed to just Delta-9 THC.
At AAFS in Denver just a few weeks ago, there were quite a few talks given on oral fluid. Many of them were headed by the state of Alabama that are getting rid of urine and picking up more oral fluid for DUI.
I think,
That can be acquired at the scene.
right, I think this is the issue that's been addressed in the public policy meetings and presentations is specific to just clarifying that metabolites pretty much in urine. But I guess I should say all that really needs to be changed, it seems to be consistent with what public policy voted on, and correct me if I'm wrong, would be to clarify that testing should be for the active Delta-9 THC versus the any inactive metabolite.
That's correct.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, I do think, just because I've been in this process now for about 5 years, and this time of year, we have weekly, sometimes daily calls with bill, maybe it rewritten 7 times, it comes out as something different, it doesn't even come out at all. And that's what I agree that sometimes it may not be this for a particular bill, because the way it will be covered, or maybe covering a lot more than we really intend. So we don't say that's the, the science commission's purpose, so we're not support the rules. So I really don't want to come out with we're saying we should go, it doesn't matter. You can get and that's you. So that is, we have comments in the chat from saying that Representative David Dallas, House Bill appears to be that proposal committee, and Senator Julie Morrison says that's time to a subcommittee on cannabis, and we're waiting for a hearing to be set. So perhaps I will reach out to my members and contact Senator Morrison. So perhaps whatever you decide, should I be given the go-ahead to go forward, and reach out to Senator Morrison and just go from there. That's so many process. Okay, and it's still okay. That was my those legislators that maybe we reach out to after that, right, this summer, maybe even well, a session or initially to say, hey, parts of this we do support, and we think this would be a good way to go at it. Again, I was having about 2 years to see how this process of I'm just trying to give you a little bit. Since we're talking about this now, I know it's a separate discussion item here, so maybe we can just address it now. Since this is something I think public policy is asking for, or planning to ask for a vote on today too. Do you want to just clarify, because of what State Attorney said, talk about how sometimes other things could be part of the same statute? What your public policy stance is with respect to other aspects of the statutes that you guys have been looking at.
We are not addressing anything other than this one issue, and that is what we would be asking, public policy would be asking for support on issuing a letter. Is there's interpretation of the law that doesn't correlate with science, and we would like to see a correction to the statute to address that issue. Whoever may be noting this year, maybe noting next year, that as a commission, we said we see this issue, and we want to say we support a change. We may not be able to get that change, but at least we've set our piece and it's out there.
Well, I think we can get it changed.
Yeah, I think we can make the change.
It's just a matter of.
Right.
Right.
I'm okay waiting and we'll for this.
Right.
I mean, to me, it makes sense.
Right.
I
But
mean,
there's,
I'm the prosecutor prosecuting him, but it makes sense.
so, but there are other aspects of the same statutes that I know are being talked about, and that's in the public policies. So to bring you up to speed, since you're new, the Public Policy Committee has also been tasked with looking at the issue of the 5 nanogram and 10 nanogram amounts, whether those should be reexamined based on science. And then there's been discussion of the 2-hour collection window as well. But those are distinct and separate issues that, if I'm clear, public policy is not ready to suggest we take it to you, the commission, take a position.
Yeah, as John said, those three issues we've been talking about, one, we're ready to say we would like to ask the court for a letter, the other two we're still looking into. And that's gonna take a lot more work.
The immediacy of this issue, Claire really spoke to that when she informed us in the subcommittee meeting that there's at least one analyst or analysts, I'm not sure which, who's giving testimony that's inconsistent with the science as you've explained it. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I wanted some, like, is it happening? Then
Yes.
we're-
This has happened. Just depends what you define a law, but it's happened.
I think the timing and part of right now, making this statement on behalf of the commission is because Senator Morrison has a bill addressing somewhat similar issue. I think it may be a sort of a separate issue for the commission if what our intent is at some point is to initiate legislation specific to the matter where we would need to get sort of, a legislator to, yes, to kind of do that on our behalf. But it seems like that at this point is a little bit premature this conversation is really focused more on this scope of it and getting this feedback out there, really prompted in part by there being a bill that addresses any component, of what this is. Because I think we wouldn't be quite, and if you all think so on public policy committee, feel like we wouldn't be quite ready right now to say exactly what our legislation would be if we were starting from scratch, but that we don't want to miss an opportunity if there's legislation that's addressing somewhat similar to.
Hop on that.
Yes.
Right.
Get in there with a thought, right? Yes.
I guess maybe we should wait. So we've had the discussion, wait till we get to the item in the discussion section, and then we could take the vote. Does that sound good? Or we could push it up. Looks like it's number 3 on the issues for discussion. So should
You're going on. You can go ahead if you want to, push it up.
push it up? Okay, so we're gonna move discussion item number 3 up to the top. So before I do that, is there anything else from public policy and your subcommittee report?
Chris has brought an issue to our attention, and I want to give her a chance to explain that, because that's something we did want to bring to the full commission, right?
Yes, you wait for I think it's in the discussion. So I'll, number 2, so I'll wait for that. Thank you.
Fine, yeah.
Okay, so thank you, public policy, for all of your work. I know you've been working very hard on this. So we're gonna move discussion item 3 up and make it discussion item 1. And the item on the agenda is discussion and possible action on public policy subcommittee recommendations regarding bills pending in the legislature that would amend the DUI cannabis statutes, which is what we've been talking about. I don't know how we want to phrase the vote.
Do we have language of what? I know you kind of summed it up, but you were talking about a letter. Did you guys have a letter or?
No.
You don't
No.
have that anywhere.
No, we needed basically the go ahead of the commission to, and I think the last time, it was before I was an executive director, so I think a letter was just issued from the chairperson's office.
Right.
Consistent with, and that was a little simpler because there was a bill that they were just clearly, you as a commission were clearly supporting.
Right.
So,
And Lindsay Simpson, I thought her recommendation was pretty good. She recommended that the commission support amendments to Illinois DUI laws that would clarify that Delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol, I can't even say that, so cannabinoid is used in the statute means free or parent D9 THC, not metabolites of D9 THC. NERCL is working with Senator Morrison on possible language to amend the statute. So that is a pretty good statement in 1 or 2 sentences of the.
Clarifying question, are all metabolites enacted?
That it would need to clarify that right now D9 THC means free or parent D9 THC.
Okay.
Good question.
Right, exactly. Don't have to answer that one. Right.
Very good.
Yeah.
okay. What do you think of the language? Mr. Hamlin, is that what, should we vote on that?
Just that, we would like the law to clarify that D9 THC means free or parent THC, words to that effect.
For the purpose of A7?
Yes.
And then there's a definition in another section of the code where that is clarified, or it's modified, I should say. Okay, so,
Well, it'd actually be in the definition of, the definition of D9-THC means, which would cover more than just the A7 cup.
yes, that is correct. So just to clarify, because I think in like for A7, for example, it just says tetrahydrocannabinol.
And then,
But then in 501.2, I think,
yeah.
it says tetrahydrocannabinol concentration means,
Yes.
and then that's where it falls in. So that's the definition you want there.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I guess should we put it to a vote on that motion?
Mhm.
And it's to support the writing of a letter.
Now, I don't know if we want to limit it to a letter. Do you want to support?
Yeah, that's why I'm bringing it up.
The commission takes, it sounds like the commission wants to take a position that they are in support
Right,
of a legislative amendment,
right.
which that would clarify that. And then you're issuing a letter or empowering me with
To
any
talk with
other
people.
policies
Right.
or to do anything else that would further that position.
Right.
Does that sound fair?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But not one specific person's bill or something.
Correct, like, yes, exactly, yes.
Right.
Not supporting a particular bill, but supporting a change to the language that would clarify that issue. Okay, so there's been,
But if it's a bill that covers other things, but this is part of it, then would the vote support that, just the change? Here,
Yeah, just address it, right. We'd have to bring anything else back and then discuss any additional, yeah.
Would your letter even make reference to any statute, potential statute, any bill?
I think it would,
Statute.
yeah, I think it would, I think it would reference the statute, not necessarily.
Bill.
Bill, yeah,
Current statute, maybe.
Statute, yes, but bills, maybe not?
yes, probably no bills, yes, because the bills could change, and,
Right,
you know, but the statute, the existing statutes are what they
That
are.
makes sense.
And I think if you're saying a legislative amendment, then that's referring to it in general and not
The
a.
statute.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay, so there's a motion, I guess. Is there a second?
I second Jill Baker.
Jill Baker. Okay, so then we'll take a vote on the motion. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so that motion passes unanimously. I will get to work tomorrow. All right, so the next topic, what was number one on the agenda is discussion of the forensics and the law education certificate project. For those who are new to the commission, or I don't know if this is, I can't remember if this has been discussed recently. This was a project that was worked on in the training and career development subcommittee. Correct, jump in, Karen, if I'm wrong. But it was worked on in 2002 and 2022 and 2023. They have built out a pretty comprehensive kind of proposed
Training.
coursework, I would call it. So the idea behind it, I think, as far as delivery, was the possibility of working with a law school and partnering as a means of delivering a large amount, I think it's about 40 hours of education to lawyers and judges on forensic science. Did you?
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, we had, for our newest members, we discussed this with University of Illinois to work with their law school on that.
Yeah, so an update from my end, as I said, I just started in January, so I did get the agenda, or excuse me, the kind of proposed course pack or list of courses. I did speak to Ms. Tucker, who's the chair of the committee, about it. I spoke a little bit with Judge Hill. And I did also get the name of the individual. I think that maybe some conversations were had with at the U of I Law School. I've not been in contact with that person yet, but I will be reaching out. But I think this is something that the director wanted as a status item. So it's something that we'll be working on, I think, in the training and career development subcommittee, and kind of go from there as to what next steps might be as far as that project. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we had the agenda and the kind of the curriculum.
Oh, the
They
curriculum,
asked for
thank you. That's the word that was.
input On that curriculum, but that's the limited the training and career development has been involved in that.
Right, so I think my review of the curriculum was that it was strong. I think now perhaps what we have to explore is, well, one, the relationship or the partnership, if that would work, and then two, the delivery options. So as I mentioned, CLE, I don't know if you can do joint, certificate and CLE. I don't, so there's, I also wanted the opportunity to reach out specifically through that organization to Arizona's Forensic Science Commission. They do a forensics academy, which I was kind of interested in, and the way it sounded kind of similar in that it was done annually in the spring. And it looks, what I could learn online was that it reach out to this group. I was going to maybe see how they model theirs, because it sounds at least similar to what
Yeah, I think the record idea behind this program was to be able to get looking at senior law enforcement forensic training. So he was looking to gear this toward judges, their state attorneys, defense attorneys, chief sheriff, be able to get 40 hours certificate. When I went to the training for the commission, there's no one talking about it. That's what I thought at the time when they were discussing their academy. I was thinking about forensic law. So I don't know. I think right now training and we're looking at probably further until we talk with the university about how the partnership works. Our curriculum is pretty good. So adding more meat to it, I think before we start to do that, we need to talk about the partnership and the relationship. We'll work and do that as well. I think okay, so then observer 2 on the agenda is discussion of possible action on the issue of creation of an task committee for forensic investigative genetic genealogy, also known as SPIN. And I believe this is going to talk about that. Sure. Our thoughts for policies of committee possible committee create is genetic genealogy and survivors of years has been dealing with for unresolved cases for people cases that are cases. In our state, there's been active number of all the time because these are doing the investigations for them, so it's very different than say trying to create a post profile. And so most state labs, public labs are not equipped to do this kind of work at this time. So there's like a handful of companies and 100 companies that are agencies are going forward. As a result of this is something that, of course, the right now is incurred by the agency is interested in pursuing it. This is something that the University of Illinois has been working with the state police for the next two years now. We formed a partnership basically to really the emphasis was forensic investigative genetic genealogy. How do you onboard something like that at a state level? And really where we're starting with this partnership is to kind of understand the need for it in our state. We completed a study with our state law enforcement agencies as well as coroners and medical examiners offices in the fall of 2023. We saw there was a clear need. We also interviewed them about what the hurdles were. So we got some really clear sense of what they felt
were the concerns. There was questions around, of course, financial difficulty with getting suspended. But there were other things that came out as in terms of not knowing really what it was and how to execute it, what the laws were around it, whether it was actually legal to do and to pursue sort of investigation in our state. So there was a clear need for a larger kind of conversation, trainings to be had in our state around how to execute this new investigative genetic technique for agencies. So what we are hoping to do with the public, or excuse me, with this ad hoc subcommittee, if we take it on, is to really get all the stakeholders in the room. It's a complex issue. It really requires the range of expertise that's effectively sitting at this table for us to think through, as well as, you know, drawing on those in our state that are interested in or have worked kind of in big cases already. So, you know, we know we have some obvious goals to be thinking about best practices around this. If you're following FIG at all, it did have some ethical concerns in the initial stages of it in terms of how you publicly search the databases. So there's been a NIJ, or excuse me, the DOJ has had an interim policy for practicing with FIG that this ad hoc subcommittee could help review and kind of add to make our own states, you know, or our committee or commission's recommendations around how that could be used. So because it's something that's going on in our state, but it's kind of falling under the radar because it's running in private labs, we felt that the commission would be a great place to create an ad hoc subcommittee to be able to discuss this issue and kind of identify the needs or how the commission itself could help kind of guide the practice of FIG in our state.
Anyone have anything to say on the topic? Thank you.
That's a great idea. We come from the prosecution side because there will be more and more of these cases.
Yeah, and we really, you as the commission really are the only place really that exists right now in Illinois, the only space where all stakeholders can come in and be a part of the discussions. I mean, if you create, so you're allowed by statute, as you know, to create ad hoc subcommittees. And this is a very complex topic. It has many different layers, lots of different stakeholders. You know, who knows what direction the subcommittee might go in, but it is very timely. I mean, this technology is the future of solving a lot of crimes and looking at existing convictions. Even it has been used for exonerations as well. So thank you.
As an agency that uses it through a private lab, we have unidentified in the different coroner and medical examiner offices, and we had an unidentified who we ruled homicide and was in our, you know, been unidentified for a good 3 years. And we decided we'll use FIG, and we were able to identify who the person was, which was, you know, really nice to see. Just because this technology, I mean, we submit DNA into CODIS, but doesn't get a hit,
Right.
you know.
Right.
But then we submitted to a private lab, and they worked through the family tree and everything, and was able to identify who this person was, which was really nice to see. We get about 12 unknowns a year in Cook County, and you know, the benefits of it is great. The cost is very inhibitive. It's about, you know, just for one, the initial family tree test is about $7,000, but then when they have to do the nuclear DNA, the actual match later to say whatever they did with the family tree is accurate, it costs more. And so we're stuck to like $10,000 or so a case, which is quite a bit.
As part of the original survey, one of the things we asked for those that had done it interstate was the range of cost, and that's spot on. It was anywhere between $3,000 to $11,000 for that average space. The lower end, a lot of these companies are highly competitive, and so they're willing to give discounts at the kind of earlier stages. So I think that's where, you know, they kind of trade off. In fact, we heard some people saying, you know, they said they would do it for free if we could then use it as one of our stories, success stories. I think that that's going to eventually taper off, or it has tapered off, where now the price is just, it's so prohibitive for many of these cases, except like maybe the highest profile and highest priority cases where you see. So
And the national name is for the database for missing and unidentified person systems. They don't, even for just routine nuclear DNA, they're backlogged. Forget genetic genealogy, so they're strapped for funds.
All right, so do you want to make a motion?
Yes, I'll motion to, for the creation of an ad hoc subcommittee on forensic investigative genetic genealogy in our commission.
Second.
Okay, Carrie Ward seconds. Vote by all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, everything's passing unanimously. Great, thank you so much. And I will work on, anyone who's interested in being part of that subcommittee, reach out to me and then I can work with Dr. Hughes and we'll figure out how to get you guys up and running, as a new subcommittee. So now to the fun, I'm going to call this the fun part of the meeting, the end of the meeting. I saved it for last. This was kind of the low hanging fruit that I was able to go for from your previous meetings. Thanks very much to someone who was able to put together designs. So one thing that's been discussed at previous meetings was creating a seal or insignia for the Forensic Science Commission. So I put that on the agenda, discussion and possible action if you happen to love one of them. So let me see if I can share my screen. Let's see.
To tell us which one you like.
I'm not a commission member. So I don't get to, I'm just your director. So let's see if I can get it to. Okay. Slip past. So just before I start these, there are 6 options, none of which, and I have paper copies here, or at least one set of paper copies that I can pass around, that were designed by a sergeant who's very talented in the patrol division of the Illinois State Police. And he told me that any aspect of them, these are just ideas he had based on the conversation that we had. Obviously, things could be mixed and matched if you like one part of a seal, but not another, but you want to borrow. So I'm going to put it in front of you first. These are 2 options where your seal would be kind of that long horizontal option, and then it would correlate with a smaller, just individual, more, I guess that'd be more of like for the header on, let's say, correspondence, and then you'd also have a corresponding seal too.
When we get our lapel pins.
So that's the first one. These were 2 options, and he's showing these in color and black and white so that you can see if that impacts your decision at all. Because sometimes things will obviously be photocopied or not printable in black and white.
Wait.
See, I told them this would be an issue. I said, we can't do any one discipline because the other disciplines might get upset. So this one is discipline neutral, and just has a lot of dots. And then this is a very simple seal. I believe at the bottom is the year that the commission was created. 2021. And then the last one. I don't know if you can see it in detail, but behind the state of Illinois there is the fingerprint pattern, and that's why I brought, I can pass those around.
Right there now.
It's a little easier to see. So you can see.
Yeah. There, maybe you can get us.
So I'll pass those around, but then sorry, there's one more. And then this one was a little bit more of the traditional with the seal of the state and then just Forensic Science Commission at the bottom. So while these are going to be small thumbnails, there they all are on one page. If anyone has any comments or thoughts, again, so for example, you could take option 2, but decide to have, instead of stars, you could have the year that the commission was created at the bottom instead. So that's what he was saying, like, or vice versa. So, and you don't, I can go back to him with your comments, and he can make changes and you can vote on it at the next meeting. Or if there's one that you want to vote on and just go with, we could do that today as well. I did put it as a possible action item.
So I know the toxicologist didn't like the fingerprint, but instead of the fingerprint, do the rays and keep the same color. that was from two of us here.
So basically option two but replacing the fingerprint background with the rays
Yeah.
of option three.
I like the year better than the stars, the year of the establishment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like option two. I'm fine with changing the stars out or putting the rays in, but I think I like the way that Illinois is.
Yeah.
It stands out, yeah, I like that.
And when it's photocopied, you don't really notice the fingerprint, so.
Oh.
Fair. From just an obviously non-tech side, and just as an outsider, I think when people think of Illinois Forensic Science Commission,
Right.
they're thinking of like CSI, and they're thinking of DNA or a fingerprint or something.
Right.
But what would register with them is a print.
Right, I think, I agree. I agree.
I
with
mean,
you.
I think it would say, oh, yeah,
Look, I don't-
that's science.
I'm thinking of all the we don't need that.
Other option two. With us. Because it sounds like everyone likes option two, replace, keep a couple of stars or whatever, and add the year at the bottom instead of the stars. And do a solid background behind it, instead of a fingerprint. And then the negative, color version would look better, black and white, we would do that as well. That sounds like. That's no, I think that's just, yeah, he's creative. I had a little bit of information from previous meetings, and from people that told me it was discussed that people didn't want. So I just had a phone conversation with him and gave him some general direction, and I mean, really big with this, and I asked him a very short time frame, so I was like, please make me look good at my first meeting. So, so this is all thanks to the sergeant. So, okay, so, someone want to make a motion for adopting that seal with those changes? Okay, Jill, thank you. Does anyone want a second? Gigi, a second, okay. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, unanimous. I will have him finalize that seal, and that'll be really great, especially if we're gonna be going forward with, you know, doing things in the legislature. It'll be nice to have our own seal.
But once we get the seal together, we need to put together a letterhead. So any letters that we send out will be on our official letterhead.
We'll have that seal, yes. Great. And then the last topic, that I put on there was just for general discussion regarding building out the Forensic Science Commission website. So in my, kind of getting my bearings as to, you know, what the other commissions out there in different states are doing, I visited all their websites. And we have a great website now with information about, you know, the commission and the postings for the public meetings. But knowing that going forward, we may be making recommendations or, you know, posting videos or things like that. I thought maybe we should have a general conversation to see what you guys might like to do with the website going forward. I don't know if it'll be possible. I'll have to speak to the webmaster who handles the site, but I thought we should at least talk about it. So here were some just general ideas. So this is Texas's page. Texas does a lot. They have a very robust and regulatory commission. So, but I thought that was interesting, just for content. Some things that they have is that they have a section for reports and recommendations, which I actually think we have now. There's a space for a witness slip form, which in the future, I think we'll need to create an electronic witness slip. So that people, if we create an email for the commission down the road, so people can reach out. They also have links to other forensic science resources. They have a section with photos of the commit and bios for the commission members, and then listing the members on the side. I thought that was kind of nice to show, especially, you know, especially since people don't know a lot about the commission. I think it's one thing to list the statute and just say, you know, so many lab directors, so many representatives from here. It might be nice to have, you know, if you guys are willing to have a photo and a brief bio so that people could visit the website and see who's actually at the table and what a diverse group of stakeholders this is.
And we can get somebody from ISP to take the pictures. We can get
Yeah, that's, yeah, so we could, I mean, but again, I didn't know if you guys would want yourselves on or not. So those were kind of, and then they also did a, let's see if so this is just kind of a close-up of some of the reports and things I indicated that they have. So links to like NIST documents as resources. And then this was interesting. So they have, if they do any trainings, they have it on like a news feed, and then they have those presentations available. They have the agenda, and then the presentations that are presented are available via link. So I thought that was something to think about as we go forward, especially with training and career development. So that's what I had as just general ideas. If anyone has any other ones, or if you guys are okay with me talking to, I don't know what I'm still figuring out what I have to run past you and what I don't. So, but would you like the idea of building out the website?
I very much so do. And as somebody who doesn't, there's a couple of us who don't have like the in-house, I know we're supposed to have been facilitators where we can access the teams and all that stuff. It just becomes, I feel like I'm constantly working with state police, and anytime I have to like IT, anytime I have to do something. So if we could get the presentations that are even in the commission meetings I don't know why it wouldn't be public. I know we have it in the shared thing, but there's no reason to not have it be public since it's all public meeting anyways. That would make our life so much easier. I don't know if anybody else has that same issue, but I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but that would make everything so much easier if we could have all that. And I think it goes with the intention of it being in the Open Meetings Act.
Yeah, I think these meetings are available via
They're on the
YouTube.
web.
Yeah, they're on the
Yeah,
web.
website.
These
Yeah,
are on the web, yeah.
Yeah, they're
Also,
on
like the presentations that we do like in the subcommittee meetings, to go back and find those, it's very, I have to skip time to do that.
Same problem.
Approved category.
And they're great to work with. I'm not like but it's just because of, I mean, as Brenda said, it's difficult to get in. So that is kind of a consistent hurdle that we've dealt with over the last couple of years. So it's not a need to have it, private.
No. So I don't think this is anything that requires a vote. I just wanted to know how you guys felt about me reaching out and seeing what our capabilities are. And then also to see if you wanted your pictures and bios up there as an option or not. So everybody seems to be okay with that idea, if that's something we can do. Okay, great. Then I will move forward with that.
Yeah, at the next meeting, if we want, we can talk to Jeannie as our photographer.
Okay.
At ISP, we can see about having her here at the meeting, and we can do photos.
We're moving forward, going forward, committee meetings, we usually send to Cindy Mosley for a publication here. Are we still doing that, or are we sending them through you?
My suggestion I've been just sending them to Cindy too. If you want to send them to me, and then I can review them just to make sure there's not, and then I'm kind of the one-stop shop, and then I can send them to Cindy for posting. I don't have posting privileges, so she has to do that magic. But if they all come through me, then I can also, put them in the appropriate folders, and then I can follow up too, to make sure they get posted online in the right place, because I, sometimes that happens, it puts under the wrong date, if you guys are okay with that. That might just make me the repository for all that stuff.
No, I'm sure Cindy would be happy with that also, then it's just one person.
Then she's
that's
just dealing with me,
Right.
yeah, and that way I can just follow up with her and say it has to be posted by this date, or if there's something that has to be changed, like if we notice a mistake afterwards, and we need to repost, you could just do that through me, does that sound good?
That sounds great.
Okay, those were all the discussion items that we've had. Item 8 on the agenda is public comment. Are there any members of the public that would like to comment? I should stop sharing my screen. I am not seeing any. Oh. Okay, I am not seeing any indication of of anyone wanting to comment from the public. So if, then I guess we're moving on to item 9, which is the next meeting. The next meeting, I believe, is scheduled for June 18th. At 10 a.m. I'm gonna double check that. Yes, I think it's June 18th, which is a Tuesday at 10 a.m. here, same location,
Yes, yes,
same room too.
yes. I confirm that today.
So I guess as the director designee, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, I think that is everything that we have for this meeting. I think we have covered a lot. We had a full agenda. We got a lot completed. The director would be happy. Unfortunately, he missed us at our best. He'll get the minutes, and then we can answer any questions he has. So our next meeting will be in June, but I'm sure we all will be talking, before then. So if nobody else has any other information or business, we'll close up the meeting.
Do you motion to adjourn?
Let's do a motion to adjourn. Karen Ward, so moved. All right. Anyone for a second?
Second.
All right.
Michelle, anyone against the motion to adjourn, say nay. All right, this meeting is called, is ended at 1:44, excuse me, 11:44 a.m. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.